Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing. Today, we are discussing a throwback to the 1970s from the most famous resto-modder in the world of automobiles, and Porsche specifically, launched by Singer Reimagined, famous for their resto-modded custom Porsche 964s. This is the Singer Track 1 Hong Kong Edition. Now, the original Track 1, Singer's first watch, launched in 2017. This model, a 50-piece limited edition in ceramized aluminum, came out in 2018, and it won the 2018 GPHG Chronograph Prize. So this is a decorated and innovative watch. Now, it draws heavily on the image of the 70s, both in its tonneau-shaped case and its bullhead-style chronograph operation, but let's talk about dimensions. Being aluminum and sapphire, it is feather light, 43 millimeters in diameter, 15 millimeters thick from lug tip to lug tip, 50 millimeters with a 22 millimeter spacing between the lugs. We'll throw the watch on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference. You can see it's monolithic and stark, 2001 style, but this thing is suited to fast company. Singer makes resto-modded 911s from the 964 generation, and this watch is designed to keep a pace with that level of excitement, and it delivers. Wearable on a wrist of down to 15 centimeters circumference or larger. The watch is feathery, and despite its thickness, you can see it doesn't sit thick on the wrist. This is a sports chronograph for folks who love cars, but also love handsome, innovative, and aesthetically clever solutions to age-old problems. Now, taking a quick look at the watch, you could see some of these solutions involve packaging. We have a integrated strap, so it's actually sitting in a revetment inside the case, which allows it to pivot despite being entirely inside the case. So lug-to-lug is the true dimension. The strap doesn't flare out beyond that. There's also no daylight shining between the end of the strap and the start of the case, so it has a very integrated look. Marco Borrachino is the designer and co-founder, along with Singer's Rob Dickinson, of Singer Watches, and Marco designed this watch in the spirit of the 70s, not referencing any one particular watch, but the great sports chronograph from the period, though I see a little bit of Omega and maybe Oris Chronoris Star in this one. Jumping out to the strap, you can see that there's some metal hardware to give it a lovely industrial chic look. We have a lot of bolstering. There's textile on the top, black with a contrasting orange stitch, leather gusseting to prevent gouging and reinforce the apertures for the pin buckle. And then you can see on the underside the Singer logo. There's calfskin on the bottom. You'll note the Singer logo also on the buckle. The buckle here, as you can see, features that Singer logo internally, and then it's a combination of polishing and satin. It's a twin trigger release. You press it like that. It's drilled out like the interior of space frame road and racing cars of the 60s and 70s. Everything here is thoughtfully designed. There's no default design here. The crowns and pushers are all blackened grade 5 titanium, and then we have an all matte finish to this tonneau style case. So you can see it's rather fluid in that there aren't a lot of straight lines. There's the lug junction, that's pretty much it. We have a bevel that runs end to end. We have a case that somewhat sinks down and edges away from the edge down at the bottom. That's why the watch sits so thin on the wrist. The case back is recessed. Then everything is media blasted, and we have a bezel that's stepped proud of the case, so it views as a separate structural element. Now, being aluminum, this is very light, and being ceramized on its surface, it's also very scratch resistant. It's the best of both. Scratch resistance without the fracture risk of ceramic. Now, the dial is a little bit difficult to decipher at first glance, but let's start with the basics. This watch is about the chronograph first and the time second. So what you're looking at center is a coaxial display of 60 seconds, 60 minutes, and 60 hours. You read all seconds, minutes, and hours on the same scale of 60. We also have an orange Rayhot of tachometer design that allows you to use the chronograph seconds hand to gauge the speed of, for example, a Singer car around a track. The center dial is matte black. As you can see, most of the dial is white on black print, but the time-telling functions may not be immediately apparent. I see how the stopwatch works, in other words, and by the way, instantaneous jumping minutes and hours. But let's take a look at how you actually read this watch. So look at 6 o'clock. Now it is 11:55. And now it is 12 on the nose. The same index at 6 o'clock, the orange index is your reference point for hours and minutes. So now, for example, it's 12:05. Now it is 12:10. So it's a smart, slick, but not necessarily intuitive solution for reading the time. You have to know where to look, but once you do, it becomes second nature. And because the chronograph is designed to be the prime function of the watch, that was made super intuitive as it's front and center coaxial and gives you a 60-hour chronograph register and a 60-minute register, features you don't normally see on chronographs. Turn it all over and you have the Agengraph 6361, designed by Jean-Marc Viderecq and Agenor, and they've created everything from MB&F complications to the Harry Winston Opus series. But this movement is an automatic winder with the rotor underneath the dial, so it winds without the rotor visible, so you can see the movement and appreciate it. It has a 55-hour power reserve. It's adjusted in 6 positions, which is one more than chronometer standard. It has a free-sprung balance for toughness, oscillating at 21,600 vibrations per hour. It uses a column wheel and what they call the Agen clutch. So you can see the column wheel in operation. It is super crisp, and then the Agen clutch is a combination of a smooth roller and then a toothed meshing gear. So you get some of the qualities of a vertical clutch, like minimal play in the hands when you engage it, and then you also get some of the qualities of a lateral clutch, such as physical beauty, and then the locking interplay of gears, so that if it gets shocked and the smooth rollers part for a moment, the interplay of gears will keep the timing elements locked together so that the time doesn't change. If the watch gets shocked, it won't jump forward seconds or minutes. As you can see, there's a single mainspring barrel, and it features a ratchet wheel up top and a click off to the side. It has the Singer logo on it. We have a combination of black polished screws, satinated wheels. We also have Côte de Genève across the bridges. We also have engine turning on the base plate. There's a lot to love, and Jean-Marc Viderecq has bragged that the finish of this watch, if submitted, could meet Geneva Hallmark standards because it's made in the city or canton of Geneva. It has 477 parts, and it is truly impressive. From an intricacy standpoint, it rivals the best Lange complications. All of that, and the watch, though not loomed, is quite sporting with its 100-meter water resistance. The timepiece is an absolute ball to play with, fun to actuate, fun to look at, fun to read, and fun to introduce to your friends. You don't need to be a Porsche enthusiast or a Singer owner to appreciate this watch. In the tradition of the Jaeger-LeCoultre Amvox series, this is one of the best car watch co-brandings I have ever seen, and it may be the only instance in which the car brand, rather than the watch brand, makes the watch. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.